Welcome to Whips in the Dungeon 101.24. Today's topic I'm going to call Fork in the Road, because up until this point, all of the whips that we throw in the dungeon, whether it's a flogger, a quirt, a galley whip, cat o' nine, dragon tail, you name it, we've done 4 techniques. 2 static techniques, the bow and arrow, or over the shoulder, and 2 dynamic techniques, what I'm calling a horizontal throw, or a very common throw, the forward figure 8, which we do, probably our first whip doing that was with the flogger. But now many of you are antsy and want to know, well, what should my first single tail be? Well, I always recommend for someone that's never thrown a single tail, their first single tail should be a dragon tail. And with a dragon tail, you can throw all 4 of those techniques that we just showed. But after you've thrown a dragon tail and you want to get into other classes of single tail, you're going to ask me, well, what type of single tail should I buy? And I'm going to ask you to think back to when you threw your flogger, you threw your cat o' nine, you threw all those other whips. Which dynamic technique was the most comfortable for you? That you felt like you were the most accurate with, that you had the most mileage with? If the answer is horizontal style, then that's where this fork in the road occurs. If you're more comfortable with a horizontal style of throwing, I'm going to recommend your first next whip be a signal whip. If, however, you are more comfortable throwing a forward figure 8, then I'm going to recommend you purchase a snake whip or a bull whip. But I consider the bull whip a more advanced whip, so that would be like my 3rd signal tail I recommend. So at this particular fork in the road, if you're horizontal style, signal whip. If you're forward figure 8, snake whip. So the main difference in those whips, of course, is the fall and the way the cracker's finished. Today's key word is whip thrower.